my name is Skylan Kimbrell. I'm an actress. I was reached out to by KeithAndrewNetWork. We just finished up our interview, and let me tell you what, it was something to good, like it was good watch. So if he reaches out to you, you should 100% take him up on that because he offers really great, insightful, and just laid back conversation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 703. That is right. It is 703 on the KeithAndrewNetWork. I'm here with the beautiful and talented Skylan Kimbrell. But having you with us, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to start this interview.
No, absolutely. It's a normal conversation. And like what I say to everyone, you make a new friend out of it. But
absolutely.
No, absolutely. You took words right out of my mouth. So the first question I want to ask you is, what can you tell us about yourself?
So something I can tell you about myself. Okay, I am an actress in the Southeast region. I grew up in a small town, and I've always had a passion for acting, but I went into theater starting out, so I'm kind of a theater geek. So I hold that very close to my heart to begin with. And recently I transitioned into film within the last year and a half, and I'm just an all-around open kind of gal, I believe.
No, absolutely. It's always good to wear many hats. So
yeah.
When you're put on the spot, you can just jump right into it instead of looking like a deer in the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next question I want to ask you is, who influenced you to become a professional actor? And how many years have you been acting?
I think my biggest influence is my mother. She's always pushed me to go after my dreams, and she's always been my biggest supporter. And I always just want to make her happy, and I want to show her that I'm capable of so many things. I've been acting probably for over 10 years now. But that's only because I've factored in the theater aspect of it. So film acting, I've only been doing about a year and a half, but overall full acting, including theater, about 10 years.
Oh, nice. So during that time, what were some of your biggest strengths that you acquired, and what were some of your biggest weaknesses that you overcame?
Let's see, the biggest weakness I had to overcome became my strength, I would think, was just letting go or like releasing what people thought of me when it came to going out for roles that maybe seemed a little bit on the taboo side or a little bit like not the beautiful kind of person. So I had to like let go of all the judgment that I would receive whenever I was cast in such roles. And that just became one of my greatest strengths because I can just take everything in stride, be who I am, not care about what people think of me, and just live my life and enjoy the art of art, you know?
No, I agree with you. The same thing about my talk show. Very passionate about this. I want to do this to the day I'm 6 feet under.
I agree. I love that.
Yeah, it sounds like we're on the same wavelength. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And it's very passionate. It brings out the best of me. It makes me feel like I'm a better person. And it gives me something to look forward to. Plus, you're going to make a new friend, too.
Yes. Again, I'm all about networking, so I love that.
Now, the next question I want to ask is, what were some of your favorite scenes that you always wanted to do, but you never got to do?
My favorite scenes?
Like saying, for an example, if a producer, I almost said editor, but there's no editors in it. But if a producer or a creator said to you, we need some input for this scene, what would be one of your ideas?
I've never so far in my acting career, I've usually played kind of the final girl when it comes to like horror films. I've been like really like action packed or like kind of jerky or like the stuck up kind of girl, which I'm okay with being typecast as that, like, because that's obviously what's getting me work. But something that I think would be interesting would be to like maybe step into like a girl next door kind of role, or like a lovey-dovey kind of girlfriend kind of role, or something like very sweet and, like I said, like a lovey girlfriend kind of situation, if that makes sense.
Well,
kind of an ingenuine.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. That was the end.
Well, you're beautiful, and I do see those are great roles for you. So give it time.
I appreciate that.
Say. I'm a bad sport. Don't mind me.
You're fine. Thank you. Well, I think it kind of works against me in a way because I am a much shorter actress. I'm only 5 foot 1 inches, and and they tend to cast me as like dynamite in a small package, which is fine with me. And of course, like the more lovey-dovey kind of roles go to women who look much older. I have the luck of being an older person who can be typecast as younger. So of course I don't get as romantic of roles.
So you're more like the best friend / widow sister.
Yes, but I won't always be so.
Now the next question I want to, and don't worry, I make people drink. I get that a lot.
Okay, sorry.
But the next question, before I tell you what I wanted to do for a script or a scene, if you had to look at me and someone's telling me you might say the same thing as everyone else, but I just wanted to hear from you. By looking at me and you're talking about being typecast, what type of roles do you think will be for me?
I think typecast wise, and looking at you directly, just like straight away, you would be probably like the stronger but younger brother, or even like the best friend kind of, or even have you ever seen A Beautiful Mind?
I heard of it.
Okay, so kind of a situation like that. So it's someone who has a learning disability or has some kind of disability, but they're extremely super smart and brilliant, and like it takes you by surprise. So that would be an immediate typecast that I would see upon first looking at you.
Well, I appreciate that. Usually when I ask the question, they're like, oh, you can be a scientist, you can be sorry, PG-13. Usually a scientist, a bookworm. I'm like, well, it's nothing wrong with being a scientist.
Yeah, I can see the scientists.
I give you an example of what it means. It's bad to be typecast. You look at Jeff Goldblum. It's like, oh, the guy from Independence Day, Jurassic Park.
Yes.
But there's certain people who are typecast in a good way, If I asked you, I want you to be honest. I'm going to ask you the top 4 actors. And I want you to give us your honest answer. For an example, if I asked you about Robert Downey Jr., what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Okay, of course, what most people would say is Iron Man. That's not the first thing that comes to my mind. The first thing that comes to my mind is his role in Less Than Zero. That's an old 80s movie, but I grew up on 80s movies. But I can understand, so Iron Man or Less Than Zero would be the first thing that comes to mind.
Likewise, Iron Man, and he's a great actor. And I would also say, it wasn't funny, but it was humorous on The Judge.
Very sarcastic, dry humor, for sure.
What about Michael Keaton?
Oh, Beetlejuice. Okay.
I would say Batman, but yes.
No, Beetlejuice for sure. Beetlejuice all the way.
Bizarre movie, but he was really good as Beetlejuice. What about, let's see, two left. What about, I can see his face, but I'm going to mess up his last name. Chris Hemsworth, the guy who did Thor.
Thor.
He did another movie too. He was in Men in Black.
He
the
was.
New one.
Yes, the very new. Huh. I wouldn't have thought that, but very an action-packed movie for sure.
And the last one I want to ask you is Tobey Maguire.
Spider-Man. Of course. So all action-packed Marvel movies, of course.
No, absolutely. And it's nothing bad about being typecast. You have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Christian Bale as Batman, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. You have Sam Neill's, as Dr. Grant, but he was also in Invisible Man. Jeff Goldblum. There's so many great actors, but they get Edward Norton. If you had to choose, who would you pick as the Incredible Hulk? Edward Norton, the guy from the 70s, his name escapes me. Rupert Ferrigno. So you have Rupert Ferrigno, Edward Norton, and Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
He's really in it. And it's funny, he's actually from Rockland, New York. We're actually down the road where I'm from.
For real?
Yeah, I'm from New York.
How neat. Did you ever run into him on the street or anything?
No, that would be nice, though. For me, when I think about the Incredible Hulk, for hands down, I like Lou Ferrigno, number one. But my second favorite, I would say Edward Norton. Should have been in the movie, but that's a long story about that.
That makes sense, though. I think a lot of people disagree with the casting of Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk because he's not as built as the other Marvel stars that they've cast. But I like him for the comedic relief. I think he's a great actor when it comes to comedic relief. I think he's a great actor when it comes to just bringing a softer side to a film. But I can understand why most people would be like, but he's not great for the role because he's not as action-packed. He's not as, trained as hard as other actors in the Marvel universe. But I can see the disagreement with that, but I can also see the reasons behind his casting.
No, I agree. But my big thing about it is it should have been Edward Norton. When you see it in the 2008 Hulk, and you're building it up. And this is the next question I'm going to ask you is, why do people ask for more money? But Mark Ruffalo, as the Hulk, he was good. I'm not saying he was, if that was the case, he should have been in the 2008 movie, not Edward Norton. But then again, you can say the same thing about Tobey Maguire, same universe.
Yes, I was going to say you could say the same thing about the Spider-Man universe and how they've Andrew Garfield and then what's his name? Oh my God, it's escaping me.
Tom Holland.
Yes, Tom Holland. Thank you very much. And so you could say the same thing, of course. But I think the specific universe they're going with right now with Spider-Man is just peachy. So.
No, I agree. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, why do people ask for too much money? And all it does, it makes them look bad, number one, and they just self-destruct their careers. Let me give you an example. The woman who did Batwoman, fantastic. She was Batwoman. But she asked for more money, and they said, no, we're not going to give it to you. So by her leaving, it kind of took a big dump on the show. However, if you're a diehard DBZ, I love Dragon Ball Z, but if you're a diehard DC fan and we had Crisis, you could say, okay, now there's multiple alternative realities and universes. So you could say, oh, this is a Batwoman from a different universe, but You look at most said Miley Cyrus. You look at Hilary Duff. Hilary
Yes.
Duff was this big star, and she wanted more money, and Disney said no, so she said, "Fine, I quit." Replaced her with Miley Cyrus. You looked at Hawaii 5-0, the new one. You look at Grace Parks. You look at the other guy with her. You know, they're great, and they just ask for more money, and it's kind of like, why can't you guys just keep your mouth shut, wait till the season's over, and it's like, you go back one more time, was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You look at Jason and Trini and Zach, they wanted more money, and halfway through the season, oh, we're now going to transfer power to somebody else, and they're like, then it came out. So it's kind of funny how money kind of ruins everything.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a tricky kind of situation. I think it depends on the actor and whatever's happening. Like sometimes actors will find out that somebody else, like a co-star, is being paid more than them for less work. And so that's usually, or sometimes, why they go, well, I'm not going to stay on unless you pay me more if I'm doing all this work. So it just, I guess it depends. I've never been put in that situation, so I can't exactly speak on that as well. So, but that would just be my guess, is that maybe that they found out a co-star was being paid more than them when they shouldn't have been. Like, I know that was a situation with the show Shameless.
Yeah.
Her name is escaping me right now, but she played Fiona in the show, and she found out that her co-star that played Frank was getting paid like eons more than her. And she was just like, you're either going to pay me what I'm owed, or I'm going to just leave the show. And she ended up leaving the show anyways. But I think that was in fairness, because she was a lead. Like, she was doing lots of, like, 80% of the show anyways was about her. So I guess it's a pay gap, I suppose, or I guess it depends on the situation. But personally, I've never had that happen to me, knock on wood. So I can't speak too honestly on it, if you know what I mean.
No, absolutely. And I give you an example, my point of view. If you put me on TV, I'm going to save every penny that I save, number one. You know, it's not about pissing away the money, fast cars, beautiful women. You have to be smart, because people who usually go up fast, as fast as you go up, is as fast as you're going to come
as you
right
fall.
back down.
Yeah.
So you have to be smart. So, for an example, if you got more money than me, but I really wouldn't care, because, hey, I'm on TV. And that, you have to look at the big picture. You're on TV, but do you really, I mean, if you have a family, okay, yes, I understand about money.
Yeah.
But you need to be balanced. It's like, do you want to be on TV, or do you want money? Sometimes you can't have both.
That's an interesting insight right there. Yeah, and that's a good mindset that you have. It's like, but I mean, you're on TV, you're fulfilling your dreams. Money does a lot of times, unfortunately, plague the entertainment industry. But I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you my idea for a script of where I want to do for a scene, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Hi guys, my name is Kat Johnston.
This is Donna Drake.
This is Kayleen.
Hi, my name is Kara Svuchek.
I'm Julia Brothers.
Jenna Curtis.
Hey, I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chin.
Hi, my name is Ella Dorsch.
My name is Shauna Toth.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Actress Becky Hayes.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hey there, I'm Saki Mieta.
Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesomeness.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Skylan Kimbrell. It's a real honor and privilege having you with us and being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me. It is a privilege to be here.
No, the honor's all mine. Now, left off, actually, I forgot the last question I was going to ask you, but let's just make it up as we go. So the first thing I want to ask you is social media. With everything that you accomplish in your life, does Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, do these do these social medias dictate the roles that you get, and if you should get the roles?
Yes and no. You got to be careful about what you obviously post on social medias because you're being constantly watched by both casting directors, people in the industry, and you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, so to speak. If you were to post something offensive online or just something really just taboo or just in bad taste. So I think social media plays a huge part in yourself as an entertainer, as an actor, or as a public figure. If you're trying to be a public figure, social media is very important, I believe. Yes.
No, absolutely. What about, let me ask you this. Have you or have you not worked, besides me, obviously, have you worked with anyone with any learning disabilities, and are you willing to work with anyone with disabilities?
I have worked with someone, yes, before who's had disabilities. She was paralyzed, and I feel very bad because I don't remember all of her setbacks, but they obviously weren't setbacks. Like, she functions and as a normal person, like you would never even think for a moment that she had any drawbacks or setbacks disability wise. And so yes, I have worked with those with disabilities, and I would work with them again in the future. I don't see any problem with people like that. I really don't. So they're people too, you know?
No, absolutely. No one's perfect. And
exactly.
Now, with that being said, the next question I want to ask you is, say, for an example, I want to be just like you, like an actor, but I'm not good at reading. Would that still play an issue, or would you think people will actually work around that?
I think if they are looking for, like, if you fit an actual, like, specific role, they would be willing to work with you. Like, if you fit that role to a T, then yeah, they would be willing to work with you, I believe. And, like, you also have a lot of people in the film community or in the acting community that would be willing to help you. Because I'm one of those that just wants you to succeed. Like, so if you ever were to get cast, Kenneth, I would be, Skylan, willing to help you with whatever it is that you need. So you can write that down.
Hey, you help me, I help you.
Exactly.
You know, the next one I want to ask you is, one of my favorite things is, you know, a lot of people make fun of me for it, but I thought it would be interesting to say, you know, a director needs a certain part in this film, like you're doing like a high school, and it fits more if you're doing like a teen flick or a sporting thing. But for me, I was always a big fan of those human pyramids. So I thought it would be interesting to do one of those in one of those scenes. But like you said, it depends on the film. You can't do one of those randomly during a horror movie. It's kind of like completely random. Would be funny though, but random. So one of those team films, one of those sport events. But that's something I always liked.
Those are really cool. I think you should go for it. Do you write screenplays or scripts?
You know, it's kind of funny about that. You know, for the most part, when I interview someone, I would write down, you know, the name, you know, say for an example, actor, singer, performer. And then I would just feel the energy and go with the questions that pop in my head.
Yeah.
Recently, I actually wrote a couple of questions, brand new ones, where I'm like, okay, like this, like that. But I've been noticing my head's down, and it takes me kind of a little longer to read a part. So I'm like, you know what? If I having great chemistry with the guests, and it's a lot of fun, then just go with the flow. And it's kind of funny you should mention a script. Jackie Chan does not read a script.
Yes, very improv. He improvs. A lot of great actors improv. Robert Downey Jr. does a lot of improv. Leonardo DiCaprio, lots of improv. So I don't knock it.
No, I think it's easier. Like for an example, if you want to do like a short thing one day, you know, it's always good to express during the situation. It's because you don't want to be copy and paste and be like everyone else. So if you're in a situation, it's like how we're acting right now. I know I said this in my very first episode I ever did. You know, I have diarrhea of the mouth. I like talking. So if you think about it, this is kind of like acting. And if this was in person, you could use that as a scene. So I'm good as, you know, thinking on my feet without hurting myself. But it's always good to do that. And that's like, okay, what was my line again? And so it's different.
Very true. Well, maybe you should, does acting interest you in any way?
You know, it's funny you should mention it. Long story short, I wanted to be a personal assistant ever since 2004. Almost Famous had a big impact on me.
Ah!
Do you love that movie?
Yes. Well, it's my mom's, like one of my mom's favorite movies, so I'm very familiar with it. So,
No, absolutely.
rock stars have kidnapped my son. So, yes.
I wanted to go on tour as a band and be a roadie, and
that would be really cool.
But you know, that fell through because it wasn't realistic. Because like you can't freeload, you have to contribute. So I came across the USA show Suits. And I said, you know, I want to be like, very good. I would recommend it. It's USA Suits, Mike Ross, Harvey Specter. So I wanted to be an actor. Tried taking acting classes, didn't work out. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of people say I'm never going to amount to anything because I have a disability. So I decided, you know what? Instead of using my disability as a crutch, I'm going to show you, look at what I can use. Instead of using it as an excuse or a weakness, I'm going to use it as an opportunity and create.
That's what I was about to say. Use it as an opportunity.
Well, with that being said, it was the last minute left of the show. I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there any funny stories that you want to share? Any funny pranks that you want to share?
Oh, gosh.
Or things you hate about people?
Say again?
Things you hate about people?
Things I hate, like a pet peeve of mine, a specific pet peeve of mine, it's just when people waste my time.
Yeah.
Or when they waste other people's time, because I think time is very precious. So that's a big pet peeve of mine, is like when people waste, is just when they waste my time. I don't think I have any funny stories. Like, what do you mean specifically funny stories?
Funny stories that happened to you in life. And I do agree with pet peeves. You know, for me, when I do my talk show, where like, oh, we did this great, fantastic episode. And I'm going to say it right here on the air. Don't get mad if you don't get a lot of views on YouTube. You will probably get more views on Facebook. And
that's very true.
No, absolutely. But the reason I say that is people who I interviewed like, 7 years ago, they're like, you know, my episode's been on there for 7 years and it has no views and you're not sharing it. Like, are you sharing it? Are you promoting it? No. And they make up these stupid, idle excuses. Like, I won't bore you with the excuses, but you can just use your imagination.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, then why did we do the episode in the first place if you're only going to complain about it? But anyway, you can't fix stupid. But you
That's
can numb it.
true.
But you can numb it with a 2x4.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
One of my other funny stories, if you like to hear it.
I would love to hear it. I'm sorry, I'm blanking at the moment on anything of mine. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would love to hear yours, please.
You know, it wasn't funny at the time, but I got into the wrong car. I decided to walk around town when my eyes were dilated. Yeah, now
Oh my goodness.
right at the moment. But I used to work over at Walmart. And one thing I hated was using those bathrooms.
Uh-huh.
The reason I hated those bathrooms is you always had some Nimrod coming in and talking on the phone. And it's like, buddy, hey, you're breaking my concentration here at the bathroom. So I decided, you know what? Every time someone comes into that bathroom, I'm going to act maybe that's why people don't like me. I'm going to act very obnoxious. Like, for dinner, because when you flush the toilet, I know if you ever been in, apparently you've been in a public bathroom. When you flush the toilet and you do it multiple times, it gets louder and louder.
Yes.
So when I hear someone on the phone, yeah, Bob, I'm gonna be in aisle 13, I would purposely flush the toilet, I would drown them out, and I would bang on the store, hey, we're out of toilet paper!
I'm sure that got the guy usually very, very, one of your biggest fans, I'm sure.
Well, the other funny thing you could do, it's not my story or joke. If you really want to mess with somebody, of course, apparently people have done this by now. Joke's very old. Get a Snickers bar, smush it on your hand, and be like, hey, buddy, can you
melt it? Yeah.
Can you give me some toilet paper?
And just like slide it under the salt. Yeah. Speaking of funny stories now, okay, that bathroom story made me remember one that happened to me. So I went to go see a movie at a movie theater with my sister one time, and I had to go to the bathroom, of course, whenever the film was over, and we both went into the restroom, and I thought she was in the stall next to me, and I was like, I'm gonna scare her. So I reached my hand underneath the stall next to me and pulled on the foot of the woman, and I just kind of jerked it a little bit because I thought it was my sister and I was just going to scare her. And it was just some random woman. And she goes, wrong person. And I was so embarrassed. I couldn't even use the bathroom. I just ran out of there. I was so embarrassed. So, yeah. So next time, maybe you can try reaching your hand under the door and just grabbing the ankles of somebody, some just random person.
My dad said, my thing is I like to have fun with everyone. And my dad said, one of these days, you're going to say something or do something, and they're going to punch you right in the face. It's like, well, at least it'll be funny and laugh about it afterwards. But I do stupid things, but, I try to make a joke out of everything. But you can't. Yes.
Looking back now, it's really funny, even though back then I was really embarrassed. I, wanted to go die in a hole. Yeah. But that's what life's about. Just funny moments that you can look back and laugh on. So.
No, absolutely. The thing, wrapping up on my talk show, I want to say this to our viewers, I'm trying to tell more funny stories like this. Usually, if there's I want to do special performances. My last episode, I think it was episode 701, 702. I interviewed these 3 kids. From Australia. And I was like, let's do something fun because I interviewed the 3 of you. Let's just do something. I'm like, okay, let's do a special performance because you look at the late night show, you look at Jay Leno, you look at Kobe O'Brien, they always do something funny or musical. So I'm like, okay, it's been 7.5 years, time to make the KeithAndrewNetWork better. So I was like, hey, let's do, a human pyramid on the show. And I'm like, okay, that's great. How else can we top that? So if there's anyone who's singers, my last interview She's seen Dead Mom from the Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice, not movie, but the Broadway show. Unfortunately, I had to edit that out because the song was copyrighted. But I mean, like, as long as you don't use copyrighted music, hey, if you're a singer, love to hear you sing. If you play a music,
I was gonna say you should definitely bring on people with special talent, special abilities. Like you learn, you meet a lot of people with special skills, and like I've met a lot of people with special skills in like the acting industry, because that's like one of the things that you put on your resume. Like I know this one guy who he can like eat fire, and like he twirls fire, like it's really cool. And then like I know this other person who can like ride a unicycle. I mean, I can't ride a unicycle. I think that's pretty impressive. But you run into a lot of people in the entertainment industry who has like really amazing skills. So I think that would be a cool segment to have, is just to have people come in and just like broadcast their skill.
No, absolutely. And okay, if you know anyone, pass them my way.
Yes.
I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, I want you to be brutally honest.
Okay.
When I first approached you, what was your honest first reaction? What made you say yes? And after being a guest, how do you feel now? And what do you recommend to other people?
Okay, absolutely. The first reaction when you approached me, I immediately thought it was a scam, or just kind of just a random person just trying to take advantage, I guess. So I just kind of thought it was a scam, and it made me want to look into your channel. So what made me say yes was after I researched, I looked onto your social media, I looked onto your Instagram, and I like watched all your other stuff. And then I was like, okay, this guy seems legit. He's just he's not trying to be, a scammer. And so that's what made me go ahead and say yes. And now after doing my interview, I would say yes again. And I would recommend it to anyone else. So if you reach out, so folks, if Kenneth reaches out to you, I would definitely go ahead and get on his show, because I mean, it's very insightful and it's really just refreshing,
Well, I agree with you, and you're not the first person who actually said, I thought it was a scam. I don't know why people even think that's a scam, but somehow.
Well, because there are scammers out there right now. Like a lot of people try to take advantage of actors or people in the entertainment industry. They try to take advantage of them. So I can understand why they are a little bit weary at first. I was weary, I'm not going to lie, because I didn't want to, get scammed or anything. So.
No, I agree. And there's a couple of wrestlers too, I had on the show. A couple of them I'm still waiting for to hear back. So I understand, wrestling fans, I give you a little story real fast. There's a wrestler, CM Punk, and they're like, this is what he said, you purposely come to the airports 4 or 5 in the morning, jam merchandise in our face, just so we can sign it and sell it on the internet because you're too lazy to get an actual job. And people who do wrestling interviews get to say, oh, well, hey, I had so-and-so on the show, and now I can sell an episode. On the record, I never once sold an episode. And to be honest, I don't really see the need to sell all my episodes because I'm not that type of person.
Right. And I know that now. But I didn't beforehand. So.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why you have so many scammers out there that, I give you an example. I want to have Velvet Sky and Angelina Love on the show. And they said they would think about it. They would do it to think about it. But I know they're hesitant because they don't know me for a hole in the wall. But it's kind of like after a certain point of, what number is he up to? I mean, if it's like, okay, episode 1, episode 2, 100, I'm up to 703. So that has to tell you well, first off, that's a great scam, but you have to say that he's doing something if he's getting that amount of number. But I understand, there are idiot people that take advantage of innocent people. So it ruins things for everyone else. But you should just do your research. I just look up videos, do pretty much your research, and just say, you know what? Hey, I see you interviewed my friend. I'm going to ask him or her for their opinion. I said, go ahead. I have nothing to hide.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I couldn't agree more. Like, do your research. Like, you learn things. So.
No, I agree. Now, wrapping up our talk show, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn?
Right now, I am just on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow me. My name on Facebook is Skylan Kimbrell. So Skylan space Kimbrell. And then it's easy as well on Instagram. It's just at Skylan Kimbrell. No spaces. SkylanKimbrell. So.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Okay.
Wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.